Good evening, everyone. I'm little unwell today, so I might not be able to speak as much as I otherwise do. So, but we have to continue this series wherein we are trying to give you certain inputs which can be utilized in mains answer writing. Here today we would be discussing India's coastal region and its significance in development of India. Okay, this is not going to be a very lengthy lecture. This is going to be a crisp and precise lecture, and we shall see few facts. We shall see few facts, few data sets, some information, and we'll try and explore certain opinions. The idea is to attempt covering one aspect of information or one aspect of knowledge and try and use it in different papers, different topics of different papers. For example, this India's coastal region in isolation is from geography and can be studied in GS1, right? But it is also part of economic geography and can be studied in GS3, right? The things that we are going to discuss today in the context of India's coastal region and its significance in development of India has direct correlation with themes like IR, regional security, themes like poverty elevation, economic geography, and these information, the data sets or the pointers which we are going to observe can be utilized in ethics when we study development versus conservation ideas. So after this lecture of, let's say, it won't take more than 30, आधे घंटे का ये हम लोग क्विक डिस्कशन करेंगे. After this 30 minutes, you will have an over-encompassing approach or the information to deal with the different dimensions of different data sets of different aspect of syllabus. Okay, so let's get started. Let's see what is the geographical spread of India's coastal region. We have studied in geography that the total coastline is 7,516 kilometers. It is 7,516 kilometers. It includes the mainland coastline as well as island coastlines. Okay, the Indian coastline is categorized into two different types of coastlines, technically three. One is island coastline, but mainland Indian coastline is categorized into two. One is the eastern coast. This eastern coast has wider plains. It has fertile deltas. Example, Ganga Brahmaputra है, गोदावरी का डेल्टा है, कृष्णा का डेल्टा है और कावेरी का डेल्टा है. These are the larger rivers. इनका डेल्टा है ईस्टर्न कोस्ट में. Compared to that, western coast has narrow plains. It has estuary. There are no deltas in the western plain. It has backwaters. It has high biodiversity. The western coast has high biodiversity Reason is the presence of Western Ghats in its proximity. And then, like I said, the third category, island, Andaman and Nicobar Island, जो strategically are extremely important, and Lakshadweep, which are coral in origin. So these 7,516 kilometers of the coastline, इसमें you will see the largest coastline is of Gujarat. Gujarat as a state has the longest coastline. It is around 1600 kilometers. Followed by Tamil Nadu, then Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Kerala, Odisha, Karnataka, West Bengal and Goa. Goa has the least length of the coastline and Gujarat has the largest. Both the states are on the western coast. ये कितना, how much was it important from the context of India's history? अगर आप Indian trade, religion, किसी भी perspective से देखोगे, cultural perspective से देखोगे, you would see that coast has played a humongous role. If you read the ancient history, you would know that Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas, Rashtrakutas, Satavahanas, Bahmani, everybody, all of them acquired the coastal regions. It was the coastal region whose trade eventually led to the development of India's relationship with Southeast Asian countries and the Middle East countries. The reason Islam or Christianity first landed in India was through the coastal ways on the coasts of Kerala, because coastal routes se, trade links se, they were connected. Likewise, the spread of Buddhism, spread of Jainism, spread of other cultural or religious ideas also happened through the coastal lines. So historically, Indian coast has played humongous role in the culmination of what we perceive as idea of India today, right? Be it Ramayana to anything. आज के आप जो वियतनाम, लाओस, कंबोडिया, यहाँ पे जो हिंदू टेम्पल देखते हो, यहाँ पे जो आप हिंदू कल्चरल इन्फ्लुएंस देखते हो, it has happened because of the coastal region. So इसका traditionally it has played a huge role. Now what kind of a role is it playing? What kind of a role it is expected to play in the coming future from the perspective of India's economic development? So basically, this coastal region is divided into multiple coasts. For example, the coast covering south of Gujarat till Goa, it's called Konkan coast. Then from Karnataka to Kerala, it is called Malabar coast. From Tamil Nadu till Andhra, it is called, southern Andhra, it is called Coromandel coast. And from Andhra to Odisha, it is called Northern Sarkars. They have had very peculiar characteristic features, and that is why they were identified into different coastal regions. Okay, in the present context of current times, what is the India's coastline role, or what is its economic significance in terms of trade and ports? Okay, India has 13 major ports and around 200 plus. The number is around 228, 229. There are minor or intermediate ports. In terms of volume, 95% of India's trade happens through coast or naval route. This data is very very important. अगर आपके country का 95% of trade is happening through one particular medium, you have to secure it. You have to look for its progress, right? 95% of India's trade, or by amount of volume, and in terms of value, it is around 70%. 70% in terms of value. The trade happens via Indian coastline. There are a couple of major ports that one should be aware of if one needs to write them in answers. Major ports are, for example, Mumbai hai, Kandla, Chennai, Visakhapatnam, Paradip port. These are some of the major ports. There are 13 major ports we would see in the next slide. The top cargo of this 95% by volume, the top cargo, the largest good that is being shipped through coastal routes is petroleum products, then coal, then iron ore and fertilizers. If you see petroleum products, coal, iron ore and fertilizer, these top products are the heart and soul of modern industry. Modern manufacturing industry का raw material है ये. Petroleum products, coal, iron ore and fertilizer. These are the heart and soul of modern manufacturing industry जो हमारे यहाँ से shift होता है. We also have, in terms of economic significance, the concept of blue economy. Blue economy means that economy which derives its strength, its sources, its wherewithal from the oceanic waters. It's called blue economy. It includes shipping industry, offshore wind, sky utilization, mineral utilization, etc. The one point that you should note down from this particular slide is this: 95% of trade, Indian trade by volume, happens through sea route. The largest component of that sea route is petroleum product, coal, iron ore and fertilizer. These are the heart and soul of the modern industry. You have to mention this to highlight the significance of Indian coastline. Just for information, let's just take a look at which are those major ports. If you notice, here are major ports: Kandla, Mumbai, JNPT, Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, JNPT. Then there is Marmagao Port, Mangalore Port, Kochi, Tuticorin, Chennai Port, Ennore Port, or Visakhapatnam, Paradip and Haldia Port. There is also Port Blair. So these are important ports. और आपको बाकी कुछ याद रहे या ना रहे, इनमें से अगर आप 4-5 भी important ports याद रख ले तो 2-3 on the western coast and 2-3 on the eastern coast, that would also suffice. That will also add value or weightage to your answers. Fisheries and livelihood. पिछले कुछ सालों में we have heard about प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना, PMMSY, प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना. We have come across this. So how much it has helped? For अभी के लिए ये समझ लेते हैं कि current situation में how much role this coast and coastal ecosystem is playing in terms of livelihood generation for fishery industry and fishing community. Around 40 lakh people, around 4 million, 40 lakh fisher folks directly depend on the coastal waters. हम सिर्फ कोस्टल वाटर के फिशरी की बात कर रहे हैं, इनलैंड फिशरी की नहीं. कोस्टल वाटर्स में 40 lakh people directly depend on the fishing. India is ranked second globally in fish production. It is all world, India's rank is second. And the production or the export, the contribution of marine export is around $8 billion. Amongst this The highest producer state is Andhra Pradesh. Marine fish production में आंध्र प्रदेश leads it with 4.3 million tons. मतलब 43 लाख टन्स का प्रोडक्शन आंध्र प्रदेश अलोन, एक अकेला स्टेट 4.3 मिलियन टन्स का काम मरीन का फिश उठाता है. हियर इज ए ग्राफिकल प्रेजेंटेशन. मिलियन टन्स में है फिश प्रोडक्शन का. आंध्र हाईएस्ट, इट इज फॉलोड बाय वेस्ट बंगाल, गुजरात, केरला एंड तमिलनाडु. इफ यू नोटिस्ड मरीन फिश प्रोडक्शन में टॉप स्टेट्स आर ऑल आर ईस्ट कोस्ट स्टेट्स बारिंग गुजरात. Gujarat has the longest coastline, but otherwise eastern coast dominates the marine fish production. In recent past, we have observed that climate change is affecting fish migration and the yield. Climate change में क्या होता है ना कि sea water का temperature जब बढ़ जाता है तो fish try and move towards the northern sides. मतलब पोलवर्ड उनका मूवमेंट स्टार्ट होता है क्योंकि टेम्परेचर जहां पे वो पहले थे वहां पे तो बढ़ गया टेम्परेचर, एंड फॉर द इन सर्च ऑफ देयर अकोमोडेटिव टेम्परेचर जहां पे वो बेस्ट परफॉर्म कर पाते थे वो टेम्परेचर थोड़ा सा पोलवर्ड बढ़ चुका है. सो दे आर मूविंग पोलवर्ड. इवन फिश यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड अबाउट प्लांट्स माइग्रेटिंग पोलवर्ड, है ना, बिकॉज ऑफ द क्लाइमेट चेंज. सो उसी तरीके से इवन फिशरी इज मूविंग टुवर्ड्स द पोल्स. एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल ले लेते हैं. प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना. इफ यू गेट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू कोट दिस स्कीम इन योर मेंस आंसर, प्लीज राइट दिस डेटा फैक्ट. प्लीज राइट दिस. सो द प्रोडक्शन, annual production has reached to the 16.24 million tons. I write it here. 16.24 million tons, out of which 4.12 million ton is coming from the coastal waters and 12.12 million is coming from inland. So around 75% production of fishery happens in inland waters, that means riverine production or aquaculture, or 25% happens in coastal regions. So आप जहां पे भी आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगा प्लीज मेंशन दिस डेटा फैक्ट, दिस डेटा सेट. प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना, इसके बारे में लिखिए. ओके. The Indian coastal region is also very, very crucial for India's economic development from the perspective of natural gas, oil, mineral production. Especially it has gained significance in recent past since the Russia-Ukraine war started. रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर जब से स्टार्ट हुआ है और पिछले कुछ दिनों से जैसे ट्रम्प चाचा बिहेव कर रहे. ट्रम्प चाचा ने जैसे अचानक से टैरिफ बढ़ा दिया, पनिशमेंट देने की भाषा की, अक्यूज किया इंडिया को कि इंडिया इज फंडिंग वॉर ऑफ रशिया, रशियन गन्स आर बीइंग परचेस्ड बाय इंडियाज ट्रेड, एंड इंडिया को पनिश करने के लिए उन्होंने 25% फिर 50% इस तरीके से टैरिफ लगा दिया. अब वो चाचा को कौन समझाए? अगर आप में से कोई ट्रम्प चाचा से बात कर सकते तो उनको बता दो कि इंडिया ने मतलब टोटल रशिया ने ऑयल जो लिया था, कुछ रशिया का लास्ट ट्राइमेस्टर या लास्ट एक साल का जो परचेस है वो $93 बिलियन का है ना. उसमें से इंडिया का कंट्रीब्यूशन 13 बिलियन है. वही चाइना का कंट्रीब्यूशन इज अराउंड 33 बिलियन. सो एंड फनीली इनफ इंडिया ने जो 13 बिलियन का खरीदा है, दैट ट्रांजैक्शन इज इन इंडियन रूपी. तो इंडियन रूपी से 13 बिलियन से ट्रम्प चाचा कह रहे हैं कि ये खरीदा हुआ है. नाउ फनीली इनफ ये जो ऑयल गैस जो रशिया ने लिया हुआ है ना, उसका अराउंड 41% is purchased by European Union alone. Around 41% is purchased by European Union alone. तो चाचा को, ये ट्रम्प चाचा को फोन करके बोल दीजिए कि भाई अपना यूरोपियन यूनियन अपने पार्टनर को बोल दे कि कौन फंड कर रहा है रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर को. Anyways, my point here was, if we want to maintain the strategic autonomy, if India desires to maintain the strategic autonomy in the context of future economic development, India will have to focus on oil and gas mineral exploration, and majority of it is available in the coastal regions of India. For example, region of basin of Cambay, यहाँ पे कावेरी का ऑनशोर रीजन है, कृष्णा गोदावरी का रीजन है, दामोदर वैली है, आसाम अराकम का है. आसाम अराकम चलो इट इज नॉट इन द कोस्टल रीजन, बट विंध्यन सोन वैली है. सो बेसिकली 71% of oil gas mineral का जो exploration potential है, that is associated or that is located in the coastal regions. Indian coastal region में ही वो located है, and that's why it will play a very significant role, the Indian coastal region, from the perspective of oil gas mineral exploration for the India's economic development. Indian coastal region will also be extremely crucial from the perspective of security and strategic autonomy, especially from the perspective of as net security provider in Indian Ocean region. Net security provider for Indian Ocean region, IOR. Indian Ocean region includes the West African coast up to Middle East, then it includes South Asia, and then it includes Southeast Asia up to Australia. This whole region comes under Indian Ocean region, where India acts as a net security provider. This future prospect for the next century is heavily dependent upon how India deals with its coastal region. So when you're writing about India's coastal region and its impact on economic development, you have to mention its role as a strategic location holder and the security provider, net security provider in the region of Indian Ocean IOR में. ठीक है. Student has asked question, is it available offline as well? किस बारे में बात हो रही है? Like if you could just give me information what exactly you are asking, what is available offline, so I can respond to this. Please tell me what exactly you are asking about. Okay, whenever you type in comment section what exactly you want to know, uh, the moment I see your comment I'll respond to it, but as of now I'll continue the lecture. So we saw security, we saw what is its significance from the perspective of the trade, we saw what is its significance from the perspective of culture, what is its significance from the perspective of the security, what is its significance from the perspective of the gas, oil and minerals. Now let's just take a look at what is its significance from the perspective of ecology and protection of the coastal regions. Ecologically, coastal region provides the fertile ground or the home for mangroves, for mangrove forests. So mangrove forest में mangroves act as a natural barriers against the cyclones and storm surges. इसका मैं आपको एक डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन के लिए नीचे एक मैंने पिक्चर ऐड किया हुआ है, that will explain you better. It acts as a natural barrier against cyclones and storm surges. The Sundarban of West Bengal are the largest mangrove forest in the world. These are the critical habitat for marine biodiversity. The total mangrove cover of in India is around 5,000 square kilometer. It's, to be precise, it's 4,992 square kilometer, but overall we can round it up to 5,000 kilometers, 5,000 square kilometer. The data is based on the 2023 FSI report, Forest Survey of India का report है ये. The top 3 states with the highest amount of mangroves is West Bengal, Gujarat and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. यहाँ पे graphically उसको represent करने की कोशिश की है in terms of square kilometer. The West Bengal alone has roughly 2200 square kilometers of the mangrove forest. Gujarat around 1200 or 1100 square kilometers of forest, mangrove forest, and then followed by the Andaman Nicobar, Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. Here also you would see that the eastern coast, barring Gujarat, the remaining states of the eastern coast dominate the presence of mangrove forest. Now let's take a look from the next image how mangrove forests act as a natural barrier against cyclone and storm surges. If you can see, in the absence of mangrove forest, यहाँ पे mangrove forest absent है, ऐसे अगर coast line पे storm, tsunami, cyclone का water आता है, so this water with its utmost force can intrude into deeper land areas. बहुत अंदर तक घुस सकता है पानी. It can reach the unprecedented heights, क्योंकि उस water को रोकने वाला या उस वाटर के फोर्स को डाइल्यूट करने वाला है, उस वाटर के फोर्स को ब्रेक करने के लिए यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं है. बट द मोमेंट यू हैव मैनग्रोव्स, द थिक प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ मैनग्रोव्स, इट टेक्स अवे द फोर्स ऑफ द साइक्लोनिक वाटर्स और सुनामी वाटर्स और द स्टॉर्म सर्जेस और द स्ट्रॉन्ग वेव्स. द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ सच वाटर सर्ज is reduced by the presence of mangroves. ठीक है? So this is their ecological significance, and if you are writing about the coastal region, this is extremely important. Coastline, what are the challenges Indian coastline is facing? First, any coastal erosion that India will face, any coastal erosion अभी जो हो रहा है, that affects 34% of India's coastline. 34% of India's coastline will get affected because of the climate change and erosion, coastal erosion. Increased cyclone frequency due to climate change. How much has it increased? I'll show you from the graph. But अभी के लिए ये देखो कि सी लेवल राइज थ्रेटन्स द लो लाइंग कोस्टल एरियाज, जैसे कि अगर और 2 मीटर पानी बढ़ गया, 1 मीटर पानी बढ़ गया तो आधे से ज्यादा मुंबई डूब जाएगा. ओवर एक्सप्लॉयटेशन, अनसस्टेनेबल फिशिंग, सैंड माइनिंग, देन अर्बनाइजेशन प्रेशर, वेस्ट, कंजेशन इन पोर्ट सिटीज. अब ये जो पॉइंट है ना, increased cyclone frequency due to climate change, this is how serious it is. इसका आप एग्जाम्पल देखिए. दिस इज 2000, 2002, 2005, 2007, 2010, 12, 15, 17 and 2020. Look at the number of severe cyclone. 2000 में, 2000 में there were only 4 severe cyclones. There were only 4 severe cyclones. But by the time we reach 2020, we see around 10 severe cyclones per 4-year period. मतलब within last 20 years, the probability or the happenings of the severe cyclone has increased by 250 times. पहले 4 बार होता था, 250% से बढ़ गया है. पहले 2000 तक वो 4 बार हो सकता था, अब वो 10 बार हो रहा है. This much it has impacted. If you can quote this graph, अगर इस ग्राफ को अगर आप एक्चुअल इसमें लिख सकते हो आंसर्स में, तो नथिंग लाइक इट. इससे बहुत ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा. Here is a map which shows how much impact will it have, or what are the regions of Indian coastline जहां इसका इम्पैक्ट दिखाई देता है साइक्लोन्स का. वेरी हाई प्रोन वाले जो रीजन्स है, those are again largely located on the eastern coast. Then highly prone, moderately prone इधर है, and again these are highly prone. So if you notice, only the southern Maharashtra to northern Kerala, this is the region जिसमें cyclones का probability थोड़ा कम है compared to rest of the coast of India. इसके geographical regions बहुत अलग अलग है, but as of now you need to understand, or you need to know from the perspective of the examination, that eastern coast has severe threat from the cyclones. All right. What are the government initiatives? First, which intends, the initiative which intends to utilize the potential of Indian coastline for the economic development, the first one of them is Sagarmala project. The Sagarmala project. It is the port-led development approach. The development to be led by the ports. Okay. So this Sagarmala port plans to link 12 major and 180 minor ports in India with the hinterland to build a robust water navigation system. They intend to build a system wherein all the 12, 13 major port and 180 plus minor ports to be interlinked through waterways in order to reduce the shipping cost, out of which 12 would be centrally operated and 6 would be state operated ports. Basically इसका objective को अगर आप समझ लेते हो तो you would have clear idea. The objective of this project is augmenting operational efficiency of port. The objective is to augment the operational efficiency of ports, more terminals for loading and unloading cargoes, optimizing logistics, railroads, internal inland waters, then identify the capacity additions for more ports wherever it is possible or viable, and modernize India's ports so that port-led development can be augmented. अब ये इतना तो आपको याद रहेगा नहीं, let's accept it. So ये जो content है, it should be used, this slide should be used in the way forward. यहाँ पे जो लिखा हुआ है इस कंटेंट को आप वे फॉरवर्ड में यूज कर सकते हो. सागरमाला प्रोजेक्ट, पोर्ट-लेड डेवलपमेंट. नेक्स्ट इज ब्लू इकोनॉमी पॉलिसी, which is sustainable ocean resource use, which emphasizes on sustainable use of ocean resources. Then coastal regulation zone, CRZ zone, notification for ecosystem protection. These help as a tool to protect the ecosystems. Deep ocean missions for exploration and conservation, exploration of minerals as well as conservation of better understanding or better knowledge building of the coastal system. Then ICZM, integrated coastal zone management. Matlab, not just from the perspective of economics, but from the perspective of security, from the perspective of tourism, from the perspective of ecological protection, from the perspective of the state, from the perspective of state nation, from the perspective of the armed forces. Integrated कोस्टल जोन मैनेजमेंट में सब का ख्याल रखा जाएगा. इस तरीके के मैनेजमेंट अप्रोच बिल्ड करना है. So here are a couple of pointers for conclusion. Wherever you see, you can utilize these as concluding remark for your answers. What have we understood so far? We have understood that coastal regions are extremely vital for economic and ecological assets for India. They are ecological and economic assets for India, vital economic assets. We need to have a balance between development and conservation. We need to utilize the opportunity provided by the coastal regions in trade, tourism, renewable energy and fisheries. Renewable energy में कहाँ पे आपको दिखाई देता है? The wind turbine और विंड टर्बाइन के लिए कोस्टल रीजन बहुत बढ़िया है. देन फॉर टाइडल इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जनरेशन उसके लिए कोस्टल रीजन बहुत बढ़िया है ना. तो रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी में इट कैन प्ले अ ह्यूज रोल. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, दिस इज एक्सट्रीमली क्रिटिकल फॉर इंडियाज विजन ऑफ $5 trillion इकोनॉमी. दिस इज एक्सट्रीमली क्रिटिकल फॉर इंडियाज विजन ऑफ $5 trillion इकोनॉमी. एंड वन probably this line which can be utilized in almost every GS3 answer is sustainable management ensures resilience to climate change. Sustainable, this word sustainable management leads to resilience to the climate change. It's very critical. If you write this, you are going to get good marks for your conclusion. So what have you seen? We have seen how India's coastal regions and its significance in development of India. We saw what is its geographical spread. We also observed what was its historical significance. Then we saw what was its significance, economic significance in terms of trade, ports, how much it contributes. What is its role in terms of fisheries and coastal livelihood? We observed this. We also saw the role played by the Prime Minister प्रधान मंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना PMMSY, उसका क्या रोल है ये भी हम लोगों ने ऑब्जर्व किया. This is some important data set that you should note down. You should know that only 25% of it is contributed by the coastal fisheries, whereas 75% is contributed by the inland fisheries. We saw how oil, gas, mineral exploration can help, especially in the context of current geopolitical dimensions, be it US, Russia, be it Russia, Ukraine, be it Iranian sanctions, etc., etc. Also, what is its role from the strategic and security perspective? We also observe that, especially in the context of net security provider in Indian Oceanic region. We also studied what is the ecological significance from the perspective of protecting Indian coastlines from cyclones, surge water, tsunami, the role played by the mangroves. We also studied what are the challenges caused by the climate and coastal erosion. We also mapped the hazard, like we also did the hazard mapping of cyclonic threat. We also studied some government initiative like Sagarmala project, or the conceptual understanding of the blue economic policy, or CRZ, or ICZM, integrated coastal zone management. And we also saw a couple of concluding statements which can be directly utilized for your answer writing. The overall idea of this particular short lecture was to help you understand or give you certain data point or certain facts which can be utilized across the papers, ranging from GS1 to GS4 and in essay. Alright, so thank you so much for joining in. As always, it's always an enriching experience to come live and discuss certain small topics which may have huge implication. Thank you so much.